Hey guys, friends, family, and anyone who's watching. So I promised you guys a video about my last day here in Germany, and as you may have noticed from my Facebook profile picture or cover photo or status, I spent it at Nurburgring Nordschleife racetrack. Nordschleife is the old track, which is famous for its many historic races that have occurred there, also for the many crashes, accidents, and deaths that have taken place there during races. Formula One no longer does a race track or race there anymore at the old course, the Nordschleife. Instead, they created a Grand Prix track in 1976 after a very horrific crash in which the driver basically burnt off his entire face. So yeah, just some other details. This course is probably one of the most prettiest country roads racetracks in the world. It has 73 turns, and most of these turns are blind turns, and there's numerous elevation changes. So just kind of give you a detail of how precarious and terrifying but also exhilarating this racetrack can be. Last week came out here, was on the Grand Prix track, racing F1 cars on a section of the Grand Prix track, but was also able to witness part of one of the 24-hour races going around the other part of Nurburgring Nordschleife, as well as the other half of the Grand Prix track. And needless to say, these guys are just freaking phenomenal. So was given just a wonderful birthday present by my cousin and his girlfriend here in Germany, the present of 4 laps around Nurburgring Nordschleife, and I also was able to get on the BMW M5 taxi for my first lap. So do not remember the name of my driver. I actually didn't ask him just because things just were happening really quickly. I've been trying to get tickets to the ring taxi now for 2 months, and was unsuccessful. So I showed up on day of and said, hey, this is my situation. Can you guys help me out? And they said, okay, give us your credit card, and oh, you will be getting in the car in 5 minutes. So pretty much that's how it happened, and my driver took me around in 8 minutes and 40 seconds flat. Just crazy to see just the amount of skill that he had. This is, I'm pretty sure he could have gotten faster in the taxi if it weren't for us slowing down for a bunch of dirt that was thrown up, and if we had a clear track. He was just overtaking people left and right, overtaking Porsches, overtaking M3s, you name it. We were just overtaking them, and he was doing it with just skill, like literally just anywhere from 3 inches to a foot of clearance in between us and the other car. It was just nuts seeing him corner and overtaking these cars in just precarious situations. His experience is he's been racing for 18 years, since he was 18, and the past 15 years he's been a test driver at BMW and basically racing around Nurburgring. So asked him if he could do it blindfolded around the racetrack. He said he could do it in his sleep. So just kind of testament to his skill. Anyways, summary of how I did. Lap 1 was semi-wet, little sprinkling at the beginning of the course for the first 2 kilometers, and did it in about 12 minutes and 40 seconds flat, or not flat, but 12 minutes 40 seconds around there. Don't not super precise because I was using my analog wristwatch, and for the other laps I used the proper Nurburgring timer that they had posted next to the race course. So passed a bunch of cars, passed a bunch of old Porsches, passed a bunch of rental cars, racer rental cars that were used by a bunch of other tourists. But was also passed by the M5 taxi, an M3, and another sports car, which I can't remember the name of, or just can't remember the brand in general. So yeah, it was really exhilarating, super terrifying as well, because it was my first time around by myself. Remembered bits and pieces of it from the first time with my driver, but it just happened so fast. He went around it 8 minutes 40 seconds. I did it in 12 minutes 40 seconds. So 4-minute difference, you can see. My car I drove, it was a Audi A6, 150. I wish it had 500. 158 horsepower wagon, while the BMW M5 taxi is 548 horsepower to 560 horsepower. With dual turbochargers, so it just kind of gives you a clear understanding of just what we were dealing with. Just my car was a heavy car, just because of the wagon, as well as it was. I felt underpowered. So lap 2 was extremely terrifying. Rains picked up. I literally got on the track right when it started to rain, and didn't know that at the time. It was, you know, when I pulled up to the track, just ready to go, it was nice and clear, and then all of a sudden rain came out of nowhere. First 3 kilometers were just rain filled, just very scary, very terrifying. Just being super careful. There were 2 accidents along the way. Saw an Audi or Volkswagen wagon crash, completely front end demolished, gone, and the driver made it out safely. The second crash was a Mercedes-Benz C63 AMG matte black with a freaking nice rear spoiler, and it ate it. It ate some nar in the grass. No physical damage to the car. Saw the driver and the car as it was being towed into the pit, and they were okay. So yeah, just kind of testament of how wet the track really was. So the first 3 kilometers, the last 3 kilometers were really wet with the heavy rain. In between, it stopped raining, but the track was still extremely wet with lots of puddles. You just a lot of screeching of the tires, and just very crazy. Kilometer 6. S-turn, that's what I'll call it. I'll butcher the name if I ever say it, but kilometer 6 S-turn, that's what I'll call it, was probably one of the most challenging turns of the course for me, just because it's an extreme S-turn, and I think I was trying to go around it at, you know, first time 80 to 90 kilometers an hour, somewhere in there, and just definitely a lot of drifting into it because of my the boot. I have a wagon, and it was extremely wet. Struggled with that for lap 3 too, even though I went around it significantly slower. So yeah, that was that. Lap 3, happy to report, did it in 12 minutes flat as opposed to my last lap. I originally reported, lap 2 I originally reported as 11:13, which I was super surprised of, and then I realized that the adrenaline got to me and I couldn't do my math right. So it ended up, lap 2 was done in 13:13. Lap 3 done in 12 minutes flat. Once again struggled with kilometer 6 S-turn. It was, even though I went slower and tried to mitigate it a little better, but overall, really happy that I did it in 12 minutes. And it was a clear track. It was still semi-wet. You know, I waited about half an hour between lap 2 and lap 3 to let it dry out a little bit, and let a bunch of cars go before me to kind of dry out the track as well. So I did it in 12 minutes flat. There was no traffic. I didn't see a single soul, pretty much. Lap 3. Finally, lap 4. This is just, you know, a little, you know, a lot more familiarized with the course. Definitely a lot of adrenaline flowing because, you know, you want to do well for your last lap. And yeah, made sure, you know, I made sure I knew kilometer 6 really well this time, slowed down appropriately, and was a lot better this time. Definitely a lot less squealing, screeching, more controlled around this turn, and around the entire track in general. So I did it in my record time of 11 minutes and 15 seconds, and this is official using the Nurburgring Nordschleife timing board. So I'm really happy to report that, especially in my car. Yeah, so just to sum it up, one of the most exciting days of my life, also one of the most terrifying days of my life. I am just, don't know if you can see it in my face, just really tired, just from driving around it 4 times, and just my ribs are absolutely gone just from the amount of cornering. It really does take a physical toll on you, even though you are driving somewhat of even a comfort car, so to speak, in my case. But yeah, it does take a toll on you, believe it or not. So yeah, so looking forward to seeing you guys back in the States. Go home tomorrow morning, and yeah, so peace, love you all, and ciao ciao from Germany. Okay, ciao.